Welcome. This is the Men Church Stuff Podcast. This is the show where brothers-in-law DJ Culp and Brad Coleman talk about stuff from our perspective as men. It's a show for anyone who wants to hear how Christians interact with the world. And don't worry, we're real. We've grown up in church, and we want to share our experiences with you. We're going to talk about life stuff, church stuff, we'll talk man stuff, and stuff. The show starts now. Greetings, listeners here and there and everywhere, all across the land. This is the Men Church Stuff Podcast. I am one of your hosts, DJ Culp. As always, here with my beloved brother-in-law, Brad Coleman. Brad, what's up, man?
Living the dream.
Yeah?
Yeah, you know.
Nice. Me too.
Spent the last few weeks fixing the van, saving money, and not fishing.
Not fishing. Yeah, I haven't. Last time I went fishing, I guess probably would have been with Cher and the kids at some point last year. But I don't know how much fishing we're going to do over the summer. We've got the second week of June. We will be in Disney, so we will be in Disney, not relaxing.
Yeah. That sounds horrible to me.
It's going to be a lot of fun, but it will not be a relaxing trip. But it'll be fun, and we've got the whole thing paid off, and that's nice. Like that's nice. I think that it's gonna be nicer whenever we're there, and I don't have to like pull up my wallet all the time. And if anybody's listening thinks, yeah, you're still gonna have to pull out your wallet for all the stuff that your kids are gonna want to get. Sharon and I have already had a conversation. Like we're going to Disney. Okay, there. That's what we get. So and for Christmas we gave him some Disney gift cards so they can spend some money. But anyways, Miss Katie McDonald, I got to see her this past weekend, Brad. She came in for graduation. Listeners, if you're new to the show, I teach at a small Christian university in Jackson, Tennessee called Union University, and we just had our spring graduation. So school's over, and a former student of mine came in and visited. It's really funny, Brad. She referenced me, like I've moved offices, and she referenced me by saying that somebody that she was talking to said, you can go over there, and this is what she was telling me, you can go over there to find DJ. And I saw it on her face when she said DJ, because the rest of the time she addressed me as Dr. Culp. And so I called her out on it. I said, you can't call me DJ, can you? She said, I just can't do it. But to Miss Katie McDonald, we owe her an episode as promised. So listeners, today, what we're going to talk about, Brad, we're going to talk about grieving. And Brad has already extended that grieving sucks.
Yep.
And that should be the end of the episode.
No, it does.
Oh, boo. Yeah. So, Katie's primary request was for us to do a show on not just like grieving, but like healthy grief.
Good grief.
So good grief. Good grief. That's right. Good grief. Well done. Well played. So, Brad, I'm going to open it up with a question to you, a pastoral question.
Okay.
As a man of the cloth, when you are, I don't know you can do it in counseling situation, or if you're speaking from the pulpit or whatever, and you're talking about grieving, what are some of the things that you'll pretty much say?
It's okay for you not to be okay is one of my go-tos. People come into my office, they've just lost a loved one, they're trying to plan everything, they're trying to plan a funeral, they're trying to honor their loved one, trying to honor their loved one's wishes. There's all kind of government things you've got to do. So I tell them it's okay for you not to be okay, and that's normal for you not to be okay right now. And two, you don't have to have all the answers right now. You don't have to have them all. And I try to make it easy on my part. I will tell them if I'm officiating the funeral, I say, listen, if Aunt Rose decides she wants to read a poem and she just gets the guts up 10 minutes before the service, just let me know, and we'll get her up there.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, I'm so easygoing. I'm like, if Aunt Rose, like, if they're like, hey, in the middle of a song, Aunt Rose wants to get up and read a poem. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
You want me to introduce her?
Yeah, right.
Hey, Aunt
Yeah.
Rose is going to come up and just read a poem. So, again, grief sucks, and it's okay. I think that's one of the biggest things that I see is people not giving themselves permission to not be okay. Like, I should be okay. You just lost your loved one. I'm pretty sure you shouldn't be okay, right? Like your heart is broken. You're trying to make sense of it all. Your brain is going 1,000 miles a minute, and you've got everybody asking you questions.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? What do you want to do? How do you want to do this? I think most of us are not, quote unquote, okay in those situations. So I think one is just give yourself permission to be not okay for a while. And I tell people, not okay is a place that we can camp. We don't want to build our house there.
Right.
We don't want to live there.
That's right.
But it's okay to pitch our tent there for a while. And crying is a gift from God. Almost, and I've talked about this before on the podcast, but almost every person, and I've done it too, if they cry in front of somebody else, if they cry in counseling, if they cry or whatever, they're like, oh, I'm sorry. And I start asking people, why?
Yeah. Why are you sorry?
And people like, they're so taken back by that question. And you see the wheels turning, and some people go, well, that's what I'm supposed to say. I'm supposed to apologize to you if I'm crying. And some people are like, I don't even know. I don't know why I apologize to you for crying. That's just, And so I always say, I said, you know what John 11:35 says? It says, Jesus wept. And he is grieving Lazarus. And again, you can get into a big conversation about why he's weeping. Part of it is his friend Lazarus has died.
Right.
And he wept. I said, you know what John 11:36 doesn't say? Jesus said, sorry, y'all. Sorry.
Yeah, Jesus apologized for weeping.
Yeah, he doesn't. And so he's giving us, I think he's giving us permission to cry. And two, I think it's one of the biggest lies that the devil wants to tell us is that we shouldn't cry. Because tears are a gift from God. They are chemistry, biologically wired to be a release of emotions.
Yeah.
They're the floodgates. And so don't hold them back. Let them go. Floodgates have a reason. I don't know if people know about how dams work, but sometimes when the water pressure and the water's getting up, you release the floodgates to take pressure off of the dam. There's so much water coming down. You release the water. Yeah. Sometimes the dam needs repaired. You got to get it below the line where it needs repaired. So you release the water, right? Those floodgates are to take the pressure off or to lower that intensity, if you will. So God's given us these built-in floodgates. Let them flow.
Yeah.
Oh, but I'm an ugly crier. Me too, man. If you ever see me really get tore up,
something's wrong.
Yeah, but you wouldn't worry. You wouldn't worry about how you look, because you want to see an ugly crier. I am an ugly crier, because once I've reached that point, there's no turning back. It's like when I get tickled, DJ, and I fall on the floor because it's so funny. That's the other side.
I think I've only ever seen that once, maybe twice.
Yeah, it doesn't happen real often.
Mm-mm.
And I never know. I couldn't trigger it on myself, honestly.
No, Brad, that's a good word. And I'm glad that you tell people that, because I kind of had to come to that conclusion myself, that it is okay to, it is absolutely okay to not be okay. It is okay to cry and to grieve. And I experienced this, interestingly enough, oddly enough, maybe, I experienced this from watching Shara and her parents grieve over the death of Adam back in 2016. One of the things that Stuart and Brenda made the biggest deal out of, and I just didn't see it coming, was getting frustrated that when people would find out that Adam had passed, the first thing out of their mouth was, what happened?
Yep.
Not, so sorry.
Yeah.
Not, here's your space to cry, to grieve. Here's your space. Take it as you need. But I'd like a rationalization, please. I would like for you to recount for me so that I can understand what the situation is.
And
who cares? Who cares?
Yes, but in fairness,
Mhm.
That is the question that hits us all first.
Yeah, it
They
is.
say, hey,
And
here's this young man in the
Yeah.
prime of his life, and he passed away.
It's like,
It's the
dude, what
first
happened?
question that hits my mind is what happened. But what
Yeah.
you're saying, DJ, to us out there is that we have to be in control of that thought.
Yeah.
So
No,
so-
I'm not
so
saying
it's gonna
we
hit us.
shouldn't think it. Yeah.
It's going to hit us, but be mindful of the people who are going to be receiving it, the people that are grieving. So maybe not ask the first question that comes to your mind. It's okay to have that question. It may be a John 21:22 situation. John 21:22, Jesus looks at Peter because Peter's just asked, what about him? He's pointing to John.
Right.
'cause
Yeah.
Jesus,
Yeah.
and he says, well, what's that to you? You follow me.
Right.
So,
And
I mean, or as
I definitely,
they would
I
say,
definitely,
Nunya.
I definitely think that like
your
the
business.
question will eventually get asked.
Yeah.
And you're right, Brad, that I'm not saying that it's a wrong thing for that question to be asked, because like if we really care, and I'd be willing to bet 9 times out of 10 we do, if not even 10 times out of 10. But if we really do care, we want to, in our humanity, try to essentially like position or posture our own emotions
Mhm.
to empathize as far as we can.
Well, and Jesus, the Bible, it tells us to rejoice with those who rejoice and to weep with those who weep.
Yeah.
All right. So again, with empathy, we're thinking about how my words, how my questions are going to affect the person.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not the time to necessarily to discuss all of these things or to ask all these questions. But I think that's just the, for lack of a better word, that primordial, what happened, that curiosity, that the human, condition, probably more the flesh oftentimes than the spirit, right? Because I want to know. Why do you want to know? Because I'm curious.
Yeah. And again, it caught me off guard that that's what one of their biggest kind of accusations of them not learning, gosh, forgive me.
Well, and it's
of
not,
them having to deal with the loss of their son, right?
well, nobody wants to have to recount that over and over and over and over again.
Right.
So here be my advice to someone who is not right there in it. They're not, it wasn't their son. It was their friend's son. Someone they care about, someone they're grieving, but they're in, and they know what happened. One of the ways that you can help your friends is by playing wingman, if you will. Interrupt and cut off those conversations. And if they're okay with it, hey, look, this is what happened. There was an aneurysm, all this. Then you take that.
Yeah.
So you're taking it off of their plate. You're answering the question so they don't have to relive it, right? And so that people can, but also, right, just be there and be loving. I'm so sorry. Usually is not the wrong thing to say.
Yeah. And
I'm so sorry. Not to take this episode too lightly, but it's because we don't want it to be too heavy. Just for the record, I apologize and I'm sorry are usually words that you can interchange, but not in the case of grief and funerals.
do what now?
I'm sorry and I apologize are usually synonymous.
No, yeah.
But not in this
you
case.
don't need, well, I apologize.
I apologize.
Apologize for what?
Yeah.
Is there something that you have done that I don't know? Is it your fault that we're here?
I'm so apologetic.
Yeah. So to Katie, first and foremost, it is absolutely okay to grieve. Now, here's where I want to land on what I just said. I don't think that there's anybody that would argue that it's bad to grieve. I mean, I suppose there might be some like radical ideologists that would argue that. But I mean, for the most part, I think human beings are okay acknowledging that that is true. Question is, how often do we actually abide by it? How often do we let ourselves grieve? And here is where I think that we need, Brad, at least you and me right now in this format,
Mhm.
need to offer up scriptural permission to be
Mhm.
able to speak to God.
Mhm.
Psalm 13, Lord, how long will
Yep.
you forget me? Forever?
Forever.
How long will you hide your face from me? How long will I store up anxious concerns within me, agony in my mind every day? How long will my enemy dominate me? Consider me and answer me, Lord my God. Restore brightness to my eyes. Otherwise, I will sleep in death. Like, and then it goes on. He flips the script,
Mhm.
but I mean,
Yeah. He's honest with
that's
God.
he's honest with God, and
Gosh, please, people, be honest with God. He already freaking knows.
yeah, he does. Yeah, don't.
If he was going to smite you, he'd have smote you already.
That's right. And you can't be eloquent with God. He created language. Okay, he
Yeah.
knows more words than you do.
Yeah.
He knows he can sweet talk. Okay, so like I think that piety and reverence have their place, but I mean, in raw emotion of what the heck just happened and why did this happen to me?
And I think you can be
You know?
reverent. I think you can be reverent in those moments. I have had prayers today that if you or anybody else overheard, you'd be like, you're being irreverent. And I
Right.
would argue I was not.
Yeah,
I knew who I was talking to. I remembered who I was talking to. And I was referring to him as thus, I know you're right.
Yeah.
I know I'm wrong. I'm struggling right now and I don't know what to do. And so I'm just going to just beat on your chest and pour it out and let it all out. And you know what? He didn't smite me.
right.
He loved me. He helped me. And in those times, sometimes what God helped me do was cry because I was holding it back. And he just hit this thought past my mind and it just broke, opened those floodgates. But yeah, be honest with God. The people, I would argue, who are closest to God in the scripture are brutally honest with him. Look at Jeremiah. Look at David. Look at Peter.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
I mean, Peter pulls Jesus aside and starts rebuking him. Now, Jesus is going to respond. I tell people, be brutally honest with God.
Get behind me, Satan.
But he's going to be brutally honest back with you. But not in an overwhelming, like he knows your heart. God speaks your heart language. Here's what's crazy, DJ. We think that we know ourselves the best, but that's an error. Yeah. God knows us better than we know ourselves. Right. He knows what we need. He knows how to speak to our heart. He knows how to get through. We may be thinking, hey, this is what I need. And God's like, no, this is what you need. Well, I don't want that. But here, just sit with it for a minute. You might change your mind.
And if let's pull in Job right now, right? I think Job is the stereotype, right? The archetype of this conversation.
Yes.
Like you want to talk about losing everything except his wife, and even then, it's like I think there could be argument that emotionally he may have lost his wife, but like.
Well, and honestly, think about this, okay? But because sometimes people frame Job's wife negatively. I'm going to leave Job's wife as far as her character out of this. Job loved his wife.
Yes.
What's one of the hardest things for you to do as a husband? Watch your wife hurt. She lost everything Job lost. Watch your wife hurt and not be able to do anything about it.
That's correct. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think, I mean, maybe. I mean, I know like Tim Hawkins went, oh, look, he took everything from Job but his wife. Hey, you didn't take his wife. Yeah, I know. I meant to leave her.
That's funny.
But let's just consider that maybe they had a really good relationship. She is grieving just as much as he is. She's watching her husband, and now he is seeing her hurt, and he can't do anything about it.
Right.
That hurts deep.
Well, what I was going to say about Job was that when we take into consideration what Job lost, why we read Job, God never actually explains himself.
He doesn't. And I want him to so bad. DJ.
Yeah, but like
every time I read it, I want.
Come on, God!
Like, did you add it? Did you throw it in there when I wasn't looking? Did I miss it? Was the difference? No.
Yeah, he never gives an explanation, and he doesn't need to.
Yeah.
And here's the thing with grief: like, get mad at God, and do not be overly concerned that God will actually give you an answer that will satisfy. Because it's not there, right? I mean,
not necessarily. I mean, again, it depends. Like when we're talking about grief, okay, yeah. Hey, you lost your toddler. They passed away. Yeah, I don't have an answer for that. Why did God
Right.
let that happen? I don't know.
Don't know.
No, He does, but are you going to be able to understand? I think is what you're saying, did you? Like even
Yeah.
if God told you, this is
Yeah.
why.
Right. It's the answer's not going to be good enough.
Yeah, it's not.
And I'm saying that outright.
And if you're sitting there and you're going through that, we're so sorry. We are.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yes.
That like I can't imagine. I don't want to imagine.
No. And like you and coming back to what we've already said, you are absolutely well within your human rights to be angry, to be bitter, to question,
I love the
to
Psalms.
doubt. Right?
They
right?
have permission. There's 150 like
150.
emotional
Yes.
poems and songs and prayers and letters and every emotion you can think of.
And Jonah, like so let's bring in a different angle here of grief. Grief is not only attached to the loss of a loved one. I mean, losing your job or not getting a promotion. So you don't lose your job, you just don't get the promotion. Like, I mean, grief comes in so many different colors and so many different shapes and forms that like if you don't actually have to worry about or if you are not in the position of having to navigate like the loss of life, take Jonah for instance. Jonah was grieved. Yes, he shouldn't have been, but that doesn't change reality. He was grieved.
It was bad
because
grief. It wasn't good grief.
That was bad grief. That's right. But grief is still grief, right? Like, I mean, like, should we as Christians have come along Jonah and said, dude, come on, grow up, dude? No, that is absolutely what I would be thinking for sure. I would be wanting to say, yeah, you need to grow up.
Maybe Job's friend should go on and have some conversations with Jonah. Like, then maybe they'd been closer to like.
But the idea I was driving at is that like when we read Jonah, God, if we're the ones that are writing this as a story, I think anybody would have written something to the extent of, and when Jonah got upset, God smacked him around. God said, all right, well, then I'm not going to have mercy on you. You know what I mean? Like fine, if you are not appreciative of how I am showing mercy to someone else, then you yourself don't get it. But that's not what happened. God let Jonah be upset. Yes, he was in the wrong. Absolutely. But that doesn't matter. Like he allowed Jonah the space to grieve in his own way. Now, I'm not saying that God does that God would do that every single time. I'm not speaking for him, but I'm just simply saying that Jonah is another example that we can bring in of the Bible giving us permission to experience grief. Whether it is well suited or whether it is misplaced.
Because God doesn't just smite Jonah. He gives him the object lesson, right, of the plant that's growing up and shading him, and then the worm eats the plant, so the plant, falls over, dies, whatever. And God's like, you're mourning more for the plant than you are for these people. So God will help us reframe those things, because sometimes our grief does need to be reframed.
And I don't mean to try to negate that. You're exactly right. But I think that grief, when it comes on, the last thing, I believe this, Brad, the last thing that we should do in our humanity before we grieve is analyze what we're grieving. I mean,
that's the last thing we should do. I don't know if I agree with that. Analyze what we're grieving.
So
you have to mess that out for me a little bit, because maybe I would be like, that's kind of one of the first things. I mean, and maybe I know. I mean, if I like, obviously I should know, right? Should know what I'm grieving. If I'm grieving.
I mean, I would.
Why am I grieving?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, maybe you've been there, but that'd be emotional. So
I think there is. I'll say this: there's a fine line where error, like kind of human or emotional error, comes into play that makes us analyze, subjectify, if you will, our emotion of grief before we experience it. And the error is, if you're going to grieve, think about what it is that you're grieving. But the thought process is I'm adding perhaps this little extra, that the thought process may condition us to suppress the grief.
Okay. So, and maybe this is what you're saying. Okay. Every year on August 21st, that's the day my daddy passed.
Mm-hmm.
Every year, almost without fail, I'm going to struggle that day with some grief.
Yeah.
I may not realize it. There's been times when I've had a horrible day and I couldn't even figure out why. And I've came home and I've been like, I don't know why I'm having such a bad day. And then I'm like, oh, it's the day, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I will be fine the day before. Usually I'll be fine the day after usually, but the day of, I'm grief. Now, logically, to my logical brain, that makes no sense. It doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm okay the day before, if I'm okay the day after, I should be okay the day of. He's no less gone on that day or no more gone on that day. It's just another day. But emotionally, there's stuff that's tied to that. And I can't logic my way out of it. Now, I think the point I want to make is when I realize that that's why I feel bad that day, that helps me to process, oh, okay, I'm grieving.
Sure.
I'm grieving again. Yeah. Which leads me into something I think is very important for us to talk about when we talk about grief.
Okay.
Because I think a lot of people are okay with people grieving, but they won't give you a week or 2 or a month or 6.
Dude, can I interject? One
Please.
of the best recitations of what you're talking about comes from The Dark Knight Rises. Batman, Dark Knight Rises, because it's when Batman and Robin, I'm trying to think of their names, Christian Bale and
it was like Bruce Wayne,
the other guy. Yeah. When Batman and Robin are talking to each other, and Robin grew up as an orphan. I think because maybe his parents died. So like in this particular movie, he has really the same kind of setup. One of the things that he tells Bruce Wayne is everybody understands until they don't anymore. Mm-hmm. And they expect you to have the smile.
Yeah. And
when you don't, it upsets them. Like he starts with everybody is understanding, as you were clearly alluding to, and then he kind of teases out that this wave of understanding does not last as long for everybody else as it does for him.
Yeah, I had a friend once, and this is probably over a year after her mom had passed, and she still had something that was like something like a shirt or something of her mom's that was in her car. Her mom had left in her car, and she said, "I can't take it out of my car." And I don't, but people want me to take it out of my car. People tell me I need to take it out of my car. And again, I think she was asking me as a pastor and as a friend. And she was like, what should I do? I said, I don't think it matters if you leave it in the car, if you want to leave it in the car. If it's reminding you of your mother, then that's fine. Now, if it's hurting you in a way that's not, grief hurts, right? But there's I always talk in football with the boys, with Isaiah. Sports, there's a difference between pain and injury. When you run a long time, you're going to have pain,
right?
But that's not injury. Pain, something that we can push through. Injury is not. If that's something that is injuring you every time you see it, then yeah, you need to take it out, get rid of it, have somebody do it for you. If it's something that reminds you of your mother, and it's it's just reminds you of her, and it's heartwarming, it's like, leave it in your car for the rest of the car's life.
Yeah.
It's nobody else's business.
Right.
Process it on your own time.
So
when you're ready.
Then Brad, to that end, because I think you've brought up an extremely good point. What would you say to people that they're not the ones that are dealing with grief? What would you say to people that are the outsiders that are caring for, and they get to the point of thinking, should I start to kind of allude to, is it time to move on?
I think that's a hard question, because what do we mean by move on?
What no, run with that, dude. I think you've got a great point.
Yeah. We need to go on with our life. We need to live it. But is moving on just mean continuing to go through the day to day? Then we do that from I mean, don't get me wrong. For a month after Dad passed, we stayed at Mom's. I went to work every day. I went through the motions. We made candy. We made jams. We made all kinds of stuff. I took it to work every day. That was our therapy. I'd go home from work, and my mom and me would just cook and bake. And we made watermelon jam. We didn't even know you could do that, but you can. We made, like cantaloupe jam. It was not very good, but you can do it.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good.
Yeah, the watermelon was actually pretty good. We made cinnamon candy. We made hard candy. We were doing these molds. We were boiling. I mean, it was just, that's what we did for a solid month. And then we stopped and went on. I think we went home. I mean, because we just stayed out at Mom's because we were all hurting. We were all grieving. There's no time frame though for that. I think you've got to do what you've got to do, right? I mean, if you got bills that have to be paid, you got to go to work, but it's okay for you to go through the motions. It's okay. It's okay for you to go through the motions and do what you need to do and get done what you need to get done and survive. And I think that's the thing is like, I think about things like this, like, we're struggle and survival. And then there's stability. And then there's thriving. We all want to get to thriving. I think the reality is, even when we get to thriving, we never stay at thriving.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we're going to fall back to stability. And like, we're good, we're okay, but we're not crushing it.
Right.
But sometimes, especially when you're dealing with grief, it's okay to just survive, just get through. No.
So if I want to say this, Brad, because it just popped in my mind, and like listeners, if you're regulars of the show, you'll know that I routinely think like this. Brad, what you said was, if you're grieving, it is okay to survive.
Mm-hmm. But we want you to survive.
My thought process is, what's the alternative? When you and I think that this is like something that we need to parse out, because listeners, if and when you are called on to be the shoulder that somebody needs to grieve.
Okay, that's let me put it this way then. It's okay, again, back with the okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to give yourself permission to survive. Because you can survive and not be giving yourself permission to survive.
Go, Brad. Go, Brad. Go.
And I think that's the thing is give yourself permission, again, to not be okay. Give yourself permission to just survive. Look, I'm paying my bills. I'm feeding my kids. I'm taking a shower.
Yeah. And on the days that I don't take a shower, I don't care.
It's okay. Yeah. Right. Right. It's all right.
Okay. Yeah, straight.
As long as
showers are not important right now.
As long as I don't got some big fungal infection or bacterial infection growing on there, that's fine. Right. It's okay to stink a little bit. Just be understanding when people don't want to hug you as long. Oh yeah. Hey, we're praying for you.
Yeah. And just make sure that you just make sure that you return the favor too.
Yes.
When it's you on the other side of the hug. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that the problem is we all, here's the question I thought you were going to ask, I think, is with people who are helping those people,
mm-hmm.
And when you think it's time that they need to move on or whatever, what do you do? Well, one, I think you need to ask yourself some questions. Why do I need them to do this? And here's a big one.
Yeah.
Here's a real big one. And we should all ask ourselves this question a lot. Weekly, if not daily. All right. Is it my business? One of the things that we say in my house, sometimes I will look at my wife, sometimes she will look at me. Right? We will back and forth with this phrase, depending on who is reacting. Not our circus, not our monkeys.
Right.
Sometimes that's because some kid is doing something they shouldn't do, but in this situation, not our circus, not our monkeys. Now, we're not talking about something that's, we're not going to let them drown because it's not our monkey, but in situations where, this is not for us. So whether or not someone has their late husband's suits still in the closet, one, not your business. What is that to you? If you think it is problematic for their healing, which I hope is where your heart is, I think the best way to approach that then, if you're not going to leave it alone, is to ask gentle questions, not questions in a way that feel judgmental, not questions that are, but Hey, I noticed you have, his suits. Is there a reason that you're holding on to those? Have a dialogue. Maybe they want to get rid of them, but they don't know how.
Yeah.
And they're special and they hold these memories. I think one of the things for me, I had to get to a point where that I let go of something. Now, no one could let me let go of it, or no one could make me let go of it, rather. Matter of fact, your sister, on one level, it was this old shirt, and it really was more of a football nostalgia than grief, but I think it ties in, right? Because it had memories to me. And it was this raggedy old Coca-Cola shirt, and it was half cut off and the neck was cut out. She was like, "You'll never wear that." And so I wore it, just to show her she was wrong. I remember when we were first married, pulling it out of the trash can and getting really angry because she had thrown it away. And I held on to it until one day. Oh yeah. We had so many fights about that stupid shirt.
Brad. So this happened just the other day too. I came out, we're at home, and I'm in comfy clothes, and Noah says, "Daddy, you're wearing that shirt again?" And I said, "Buddy, I'm comfortable." And Shara said, "Noah, Daddy wears his clothes until Mommy says it's time to wash them." I'm sorry, dude.
But finally, I got to a place where I realized that those memories were not contingent on that shirt. I still had the memories.
Yeah.
Even when I let the shirt go. And so I let the shirt go. I threw it away. I didn't donate it because I am the only one in the world, I think, that would have wanted it. It was a rag.
Yeah.
It was very holy.
Very holy. Very holy indeed.
The time that I did wear it, I had to wear an undershirt under it because it would have been inappropriate in most situations for me to have worn it otherwise. I mean, it was, So
is it one of those shirts that you would love to preach from, Brad?
Yeah, it was my football undershirt that I wore under my shoulder pads that had just enough shirt to cover where the shoulder pads would hit. And everything else was just in the way. So it got taken out. But again, so when that shirt was my football memories. But guess what? When I finally let go of that shirt, I didn't lose my football memories.
Right.
I didn't even lose the memories of that shirt. There's a lot of memories of that shirt.
Yeah.
But I think that's the thing too, is helping, when people are ready, for them to realize that it's not tied to your husband's suits. One, they're not bringing him back, but when you get rid of them, you're not losing him either. You're not losing him more. You're not keeping him around those memories that you have of those suits. But I will argue until the end of my breath, if that suit that you got married, that your husband got married you in, and it's in your closet, and you want to hang it in the back of your closet for all the rest of your days, I will stand up and tell people that's not their business that you can do that. I don't think it's hurting anybody. Now, I'm not a psychologist or sociologist or psychiatrist or any other ist, but from my standpoint, if it's not hurting you, now, if it's something that is hurting you, then find a friend to help you if you need to get rid of it. So this is one of the things I do as a pastor. Sometimes people will come and go, "Hey, I don't want to throw this away. I want to give it to Goodwill. Will you take it?" And I'll go, "Yeah." Now, I let them know we work with some other ministries, and if they can use it, we'll pass it along. I'm not going to hardwire myself into, once you give it to me, you have freed yourself from it.
That's right.
Now I'm going to take care of it so that you don't have to.
Yeah.
Sometimes people just need that.
I remember, Brad, when Adam died, I had just started teaching at, full time at the collegiate level. So I did 3 years of doctoral work down at University of Mississippi, but I taught some classes, but I wasn't full time, right? So I was kind of new to the whole scene when Adam passed, but Adam had been taking online classes from Liberty over in Virginia, I guess, I don't know, for a year and a half, something like that. And Stuart, while we were up there, I guess we were up there for, I don't know, 4 or 5 days. And it came up in conversation. I certainly didn't ask anything, but it came up in conversation about tuition. And I said, Stuart, let me. I'll be more than happy to take care of the whole thing. I wasn't going to bring it up, but now I will say this: I didn't want them to continually get charged, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't bring it up. But as soon as it was brought up, as you were mentioning, let me take this off your plate. Now that's a different
It's a
thing.
yes, but it's also a willingness, right?
Yes.
So Tony Evans wrote a book called Kingdom Man. I really like that book. And it really helped me because he helped me frame some things in a different way. The way I deal with individuals, whether they're asking for my help, whether they're my friends, whether they're my family. God has given me a stewardship in his kingdom with my kingdom, right? Right now, that kingdom consists of me and my wife and my 3 kids. But as they grow up and start their own lives and venture into adulthood, they're going to start their own kingdom. But if I'm talking to my friend, or if I'm talking to you, I need to look at that like a kingdom talking to another kingdom. If I rush in and do something in your kingdom without your permission, well, that's an act of war.
Yeah, it is.
Like don't do that.
Yeah.
So I need to treat it in the way that I go, hey, I am an ambassador from Kingdom Brad over here. I mean, we're not going to talk this way, but it's funny.
Kingdom.
So over here to Kingdom DJ.
Kingdom Brad, Kingdom DJ.
How can I help you? And is there anything I do? And maybe they don't know. And maybe there's something you can see, like you said, hey, can I do X, Y, Z? Can I wash your dishes? You know what one of the hardest things to do when you don't feel good is? When you're grieving?
Chores.
Wash your dishes, wash your clothes.
Chores. Yep.
Now, some people won't let you, they're too embarrassed, but I'm going to tell you what, don't be too embarrassed. If someone offers to wash your dishes, let them wash your dishes. Let them have that blessing. But be willing to do those little things. Hey, can I just wash your dishes?
Yeah. And Brad, what that does is that actually reinforces, whether it's verbally said or not, it reinforces that it's okay for them to grieve.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like being able to take just the smallest little responsibility off their shoulders does in fact reinforce them, or give them permission and give them space to take the kind of grief that they need. And then when you're done washing the dishes, be a friend of Job, except don't open your mouth.
Yeah. And here's the thing
sit
too.
with them, just keep your mouth shut.
See how they're doing 3 months from now. See how they're doing 6 months from now.
Right.
See what they need a year from now. Because that's where people, like that first few weeks, that first few months, I think people are more likely to help and do things. Do meal trains, and those things are great. I'm not down in any of those things. But then once all that falls off, and now grief's really setting in, and be mindful. Love your friends through it. Now, let me ask this question. I'm going to ask the question, then we'll answer it.
Okay. So this is not rhetorical. This is a question to Brad,
yes,
which Brad will answer.
How long is too long to be grieving? When should you stop grieving? I'm going to answer it like this. My granny, my mom's mom, lost my papaw in 1988.
Mm-hmm.
My mom lost my dad in 2008. You do the math. There's a few years in between there. My mother was telling me that one of the days, early on, that Granny Ruth slept in bed with my mom because my mom was grieving. And my granny, and I'm going to misquote this, so Mom, forgive me but basically the idea was Granny said, honey, every morning when I wake up, I miss your daddy.
Mm-hmm.
That was from 1988 to 2008. So should my granny have just gotten over it?
Yeah, no. Right. One of the sweetest stories that I've ever heard of. So listeners, my mom's mom, we all called her grandmama. Brad knew her for a time.
Oh yes.
Brad,
you'd be a good looking man if you'd just shave off that facial hair.
Man, she hated facial hair.
Every single
time.
And I would just smile and say, I know, grandmama.
Well, one of the sweetest stories that I ever heard of Grandmama. Granddaddy died when I was in 7th grade. Grandmama died when Cher and I first got married in 2010. So that was the difference between 13 years, 15 years, something like that. But listeners, Grandmama and Granddaddy were avid, and I mean to the fullest extent of the word, avid fishermen. And by avid, I am not referring to avid as in like the bill dances, right? They didn't have sponsorships. They didn't do it for money. They did it for food. They were avid fishermen.
And
they
fun.
knew how to fish. And fun, yes.
She kept a book, if I remember right. I've heard
Yes,
that
she
she
did,
wrote
dude.
down every fish they ever caught.
Gosh. And to be honest, I've never seen that book. But apparently dad had. But one of the sweetest stories is that when Granddaddy died, Grandmama never fished again. Never went fishing. And that's okay.
But yeah, that's her choice.
That is absolutely her choice.
Now, if she wanted to go fishing every day, that would have been okay too.
Right. Yeah.
But for her,
yes. Yeah. And that is one of the ways that, yes, she showed honor. Yes, she remembered, but that's how she grieved. And so Brad, good for you. Like, how long is too long? The last thing that I will ever do is say, I think it's too long. Now, I will tell my son who experienced what it's like to lose a guinea pig.
Yes.
Who experienced what it's like to lose a kitten, who experienced what it's like to lose a dog.
Mm-hmm.
All in the last 9 months.
Oof. That's rough.
Yeah. But I've told him, buddy, I want you to remember them, but it's okay. And we need to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why? Because I want him to be able to differentiate levels of grief, right? I want him to be able to differentiate also how does a person continue to operate without, Brad, as you were saying, letting grief become debilitating.
Mm-hmm. And I still miss look, the dog I grew up with, I still miss that dog.
Mm.
Man, it's like, man, I'm not really for cloning animals, but if you could just get the personality and everything, I might consider it. You know, if we could get you some of her hair, could you bring her back? It is, that's sometimes I think that's part of the reason that God gives us animals and they have shorter lifespans, some of them, because so we can learn those lessons though.
Yeah, to prepare us. Yes.
Because grief's hard.
Grief is hard.
It's difficult. And anybody that says otherwise is lying, and they'll lie about other things too. So, I mean, just
definitely don't believe them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Katie, Brad, let's go ahead and land the plane here and bring it back to Katie. Listeners, I'm not going to read her email, but Katie experienced grief, the loss of a couple family members. I think within a year or two. One of them was a grandparent. Mm-hmm. And as she was listening to our show one day, she wanted to know what we had to say on grief.
Well, let me say this one last thing, and I think it sums it up. And somebody said this at some point to me, or I read it, and it really stuck with me. They said, losing someone you love is kind of like an amputation. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Life goes on, but some things are never the same. And I think that, for me, that really helped me to go, okay, yeah, if I lose my hand, life's still going to go on, but I'm going to have to learn to do life differently, right? There's a lot of stuff that I did with that hand. And so I think there's a lot of similarities there but I think one of the biggest things with grief, to sum everything up, is give yourself permission to grieve and know that there is no definitive timeline for grief.
And so to that point, also don't rush it.
Yeah.
Like we've talked in depth about like,
I've tried it. It doesn't work.
Letting it, quote unquote, drag on. But don't rush it.
I've tried to.
Yeah.
I'm good. You can't you can't outlogic grief.
Yeah. You can't, don't rush it and don't avoid it.
And obviously and I hope this goes without saying on our podcast, but obviously go to the Lord, who is the great comforter, who can comfort. One of the prayers that I usually pray for families is, Lord, comfort their hearts in a way that only you can.
One of the prayers, Brad, that I will pray is, Father, give them the space to grieve. let them be okay to grieve. Not, dear Lord, please take all their grief away from them. Let them feel all nice and happy and pretty and rainbow and bunny rabbits so that I don't have to deal with it. No, let them grieve. And if
Some
if
people
they
don't
have
like
to,
rabbits.
I don't matter. Don't care. Don't care, Red. But like, yeah, don't rush it. Don't avoid it. It is okay.
And go eat some ice cream if you can.
Go eat some ice cream. That's right.
If
yeah.
you're not lactose intolerant or like super diabetic, you know.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. There's our episode on grief as promised. So, listeners, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We love you guys. You know what to do. Facebook group page, Instagram page. Contact us via our email, menchurchstuff@gmail.com. You can go to our website and contact us too. Interact with us on our Facebook group page. Let me know what it is, or let us know what it is that you would love for us to talk about. So, Katie, thank you very much for your request. This was a listener request. Brad just changed his name on Riverside that we're using is not Dr. Brad, not Dr. DJ Doctor. It's true. But don't know what's going to come next, but we will have an episode ready to go for you next week. And so to that end, Brad, I love you, buddy.
Love you too.
And listeners, we love you. We will catch you next time.
Go be his church.